When it comes to setting up an aesthetically pleasing desk setup, a lot of factors come into play. Hello and welcome to the Value Space. By the end of this video, you'll be able to give your desk setup that aesthetic look you've always wanted. So buckle up and let's go for the ride.
First and foremost, before anything comes to life, you'll need a rough idea of the final picture, and that's where sketches and mood boards come in. When it comes to mood boards, a good place to start would be Pinterest, Instagram or TikTok. After a while, you start to notice a pattern in the kind of photos you pick, and this is usually a clear indicator of what you gravitate towards. From there, you can pick the color scheme, materials and layout of your desk. Alternatively, you can use a design app and individually add the pieces to your mood board. While there are heaps of them out there, one of my favorites is Milanote. I find it super easy to use when organizing my ideas and projects into visual boards. And just a disclaimer, this video is not sponsored by Milanote, it's just my preference when it comes to creating mood boards. If anyone from Milanote is watching this, please reach out to your boy. With the design process out of the way, laying the ink on your empty canvas begins. By this point, you usually have an idea of your color scheme, and this can be broken down into three: the base color, accent and textures. To put it simply, the base color would be the main color of your walls, and in my case, I chose Natural White by Dulux, which in my opinion is usually the safest and easiest to navigate around. When it comes to the accent color, you'd want to pick one that complements and flows well with the rest of the colors in your setup. Case in point, when coming into my home office, your eyes are naturally drawn to the wall behind my monitor, but the little dots of bronze and black add a bit more visual interest. Speaking of walls, whilst having a feature wall always adds an interesting design element, it's a lot easier going about it if you own the property. If that's not the case, make sure it's permissible by your landlord before doing any changes. Alternatively, you can use a wallpaper of your choice. On the flip side, feature walls don't always have to be where your eyes are naturally drawn to. Case in point, I plan to reverse engineer that concept by mounting acoustic wall panels on the wall behind my desk to provide a good backdrop for my desk within those Zoom meetings. Make sure you sub to the channel so that you don't miss out when that makeover drops in a few weeks time. Finally, in the color scheme, you need to make sure you know the textures and materials you want in your setup. In my case, I went with hardwood walnut, DIY black MDF in the form of my IKEA Alex drawers, which were originally white but I painted them black, some bronze and lots of greenery which add the much needed visual interest. Speaking of the bronze, walnut and plants, my next concept comes to life. Repetition creates rhythm.
Now, to put it into perspective, remember that moment when you went absolutely nuts listening to that rhyme from your favorite artist?
Oh my god! Wow!
Yes, that moment.
The same applies to your desk visually. Over here, you'd want to pick accessories and peripherals that carry in with the theme of your desk, thus ensuring a smooth flow that makes your setup a spectacle for the senses. Case in point, the walnut stained chassis of my keyboard blends so well with my hardwood walnut desktop and mouse. The bronze accents pick up on the bronze of my vintage telephone. The black on my wrist rest ties in with the black on the palm rest of my mouse and Delta Hard wrist rest. Then the black and walnut on my pencil kit tying in well with that on my Kanto YU2 speakers. Not forgetting the black bezels on my monitor and Groveland mousepad, just to name but a few. Something to note though, they don't have to be the same exact shade. Matter of fact, the dominant shade is that on my desktop because of its size, but the fact that there's a few more items with almost the same shade, your brain fills up the gap and creates some sense of harmony and flow, which in turn communicates visual appeal. Speaking of visual appeal, plants are another accessory that make your setup more aesthetically pleasing. In previous videos, I've covered how they make such a difference, and for more emphasis, here's my setup without the plants, and here's my setup with the plants. Notice the difference in aesthetics? While having plants is quite subjective since not everyone is into plants, and when you factor in the care needed, most people are going to pass, but just from the example I've shown you, you can't deny the big difference that plants make. For those who are still on the fence whether to give them a crack, a good place to start would be with 4 plants, then slowly incorporate real plants that are easy to look after like succulents. For the 4 plants, the classic cascading plants and the long grass on almost every YouTuber's setup would be a good place to start. Once you start to feel a lot more confident, you can add the likes of the Marble Queen, the Devil's Ivy, which don't need a lot of care, a drink once or twice a week and they're good to go. Moving along, the next accessory doesn't get the recognition it deserves, even though it offers much more to your desk. Enter the desk shelf. I've been quite lucky to receive a few from brands like ProMade and Desky, but any would do just fine. Not only does it add extra storage to your desk, but also provide the visual structure, and like mentioned in a previous video, here's the setup with the riser, and here's the setup without the riser. What do you guys think? You might say that's the most you could get out of it, but it doesn't stop there. For those with messy cables from your computer and peripherals, you can also use it to cover the cable mess and thus ensuring your setup remains neat and aesthetically pleasing. While on the subject of cables, that's another aspect that will make your desk look aesthetically pleasing if good cable management is done. Before we get into it, for those who have no idea what tools to use, the most common are cable management trays, zip ties, double-sided heavy-duty tape, reusable velcro tapes, twisty ties, cable raceways, and a power board. Alternatively, you can use cable raceways in place of cable management trays, and the beauty about it, there's a bunch of budget options on Amazon, and I'll be sure to link them in the description box. As we all know, the cable mesh starts from the I/O plugged into your computer, and having a monitor arm with a cable management channel will save you in that regard. From there, you'd want to direct your cables to the cable management tray, then just have one cable coming from your desk for those with sit-stand desks. For those who don't have a sit-stand desk, get a power board with a long extension cord and mount it with double-sided Gorilla Tape at the back of your drawer or cable management tray, and that will help you power your accessories and peripherals with little to no cable clutter. With all the beautiful and amazing accessories in your setup, lighting is important not only for the sole purpose of giving dimension and depth to everything that meets the eye, but also create different moods, especially in the evenings. In my case, the huge window to the left provides plenty of natural light during the day, but when darkness falls, my artificial lights kick in. This is where the BenQ screen by Halos, the Xiaomi's, the Govis, the LifeX's, and the Philips Hues of the world come in. When it comes to picking your screen bar, that will depend on your budget and personal preference, but if you'd ask me, I'd advise going for the Xiaomi because of the price and it works just as well as the BenQ screen bar Halo. For the light strips and smart bulbs, I'd go for Dolby for the same reasons, and even though Philips Hue are the best in this area, they are quite expensive compared to the others. With the brand choice and prices out of the way, this is what a late night session with that RGB vibe looks like, and if I'm going for that warm cozy feel, this is what it looks like. What do you guys prefer? Let me know in the comment section. Moving on, by far the most important of all these tips is cleaning and organization. Even though this hasn't always been the case for my setup, after my first makeover, I've always ensured my setup remains clean and organized. While this can be quite a task, with the explosion of the desk setup movement during the lockdown days, a lot of companies have come up with accessories that will help you clean individual items on your setup, which makes cleaning and organization a lot more easier. My go-to accessories have been this 7-in-1 cleaning kit that has a microfiber cloth attached to the back, which you can use on your phone and laptop screen, a cleaning pen and sprayer for your earpods and screens respectively, a keycap cooler for those with hot swappable keyboards, and an integrated retractable badge that not only cleans your keyboard but also other accessories like a pencil kit and a plush glass cleaning cloth that helps with your screens as well. The other accessory is this desk vacuum that will come in clutch when the occasional crumbs fall on your desk while eating. Incorporating these accessories, among many others you may know, will help ensure your desk setup remains neat, organized, and visually pleasing.
Well, that sums up my approach to making your desk setup visually and aesthetically pleasing. If you enjoyed this video or found it helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and click the notification bell to get notified whenever I post a new video. To get more tips around your home office/YouTube studio, check out this video. Until then, people of the internet, I'm signing out. See you on the next one.